Welcome. We have always special guests who have a zest and a passion for what they do in business and in life, as well as their personal and civic also endeavors. And today we're going to be speaking with someone who, wherever you are, is going to give you information on how you can save a lot of money. Because when you're dealing with electricity, isn't it better to have the money in your pocket rather than pay your electrical company or provider, wherever you are in the world, extra dollars when you don't have to? So we're going to talk about energy conservation with somebody who has been involved with this. And if you use the word passion, I would venture to say that this man is a passionate individual, both personally and in his business endeavors. And if you are a comic book hero fan, Batman, he's like Batman. He's everywhere. He shows up wherever I go, wherever I talk to people. Kent Crook is the man that I say good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Well, my pleasure. Kent Crook, and we have to address your last name, just like mine is Geronimo, the local friendly Italian Indian. But your name, is the antithesis of who you are. You are not a crook. You're a man of integrity and values, and it shows in whatever you do.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Give a little background on Kent. Kent has been in the electrical business for over 30 years, folks. He's an electrical contractor in South Florida. He'll fix your shorts, if you will. And he's the president and owner of Wire Masters Electric. And also, he has really latched on to the energy saving and the green thing going on in the world, the LEED, the LEED certification, and all of that. He also opened a new division called Energy Masters, and that's an energy efficiency and renewable energy company. So if you want to know about lighting and structure and all of these wonderful things, give Kent a call, and we'll give you the opportunity to contact him through his different places in the internet and phones and letters and everything. So that will be good. Also, he's very much involved in the civic arena. And what does that mean? Well, we're talking about chambers of commerce, governmental affairs board members of local, very important business association in a place called Pinecrest. He sits on the board and is vice chair of Community Health, which is a local community health clinics. They have about 6 clinics that they open.
8 actually.
They're up to 8 now.
Yes, they are.
Amazing. It started out as a lonely woman lamenting that certain ethnic group in our community had little or no health care, and it turned into Community Health, the Doris Eisen Center,
That's
where
correct.
really was the heartbeat of it many years ago. Also, he's involved with the South Miami Hospital, in the Green Energy Council, the Mast Academy, which is a wonderful academy that our local school board runs that deals with things in the ocean, right?
Correct.
Primarily? Good. One day maybe we're going to have generators in the Gulf Stream send
Right,
the electricity to the shore?
Correct. And the Gulf Stream is one of those places where the energy is always moving. Because with wind and sun, it only works at certain times.
Yes.
The Gulf Stream is always moving, so it is a great place for another way of energy. The only problem is what salt water does to things.
Oh,
And
yes,
stuff
the
from-
corrosive
correct.
value of salt.
Correct.
But at least it's going to be a continuous, reliable source rather than intermittent with wind
Exactly.
and solar. Although I understand they're putting solar panels in Antarctica and in the Arctic and in Mongolia, and it's generating electricity where there was never any electricity.
Yes.
But it's foreign countries that are doing it.
Correct.
The Samsungs and those folks of the world, they're very avant-garde in that.
Right.
And we haven't really caught on to solar, have we?
Well, one of the reasons that other countries are doing it more than we are, because believe it or not, our electricity is very affordable here in the United States. In Florida, example is 11 cents a kilowatt. And in other countries, it can be 50, 70 cents a kilowatt, so it's very expensive for electricity. So even in the United States, Hawaii, their electric is 50 cents a kilowatt.
In
So,
Hawaii?
in
Land of
yeah,
sunshine.
It's
Wow.
so hard to get power there, so that would be a great opportunity for renewable energies because of the cost. And that's why California is so big with renewable energy because of the cost of electricity. Also, California has, they charge differently throughout the day. So peak hours are between 1 and 5. So between 1 and 5 in the day, your electric bill goes from the 15 cents a kilowatt they charge there to maybe 40 cents a kilowatt. So basically, you live your life differently than you do today. And if you all you know here in South Florida, we are now changing to these smart meters, these And the smart meters are going to give the power companies the ability to do what they're doing in California, to charge us for a different amount throughout the day. So what that means is from now on, when they start charging you more between 1 and 5, we're not going to be running our pool pumps, we're not going to be doing our laundry, we're not, you do it after at low peaks. So, but what that will help is for the renewable energy business, because when you have those solar panels on your roof, you're normally at work at those peak hours. So it's selling the power back at the 40 cents while you're working, and then when you get home, you're using the power at the lower rate. So that would be an advantage to the homeowner if we can get renewable energies on our houses, and that's another story.
Is Florida Power and Light, the electrical provider, set up to receive electricity back from citizen producing situations?
Yes, they are. It's called net metering, and net metering today is available. The only thing is, at this point today, they're not giving you money for it. They give you credit for it. So the problem with renewable energy is it takes up a lot of space. So we on our homes don't have enough roof space to do enough power to supply our whole homes. But we can reduce our bill. And and two, it only works when the sun is out. So it is something that only works during the day. So at nighttime you have to use FPL. 90% of the solar installed is grid tied, meaning that it ties right into the grid.
Wonderful.
Only 10% is battery backup. So that's so people don't realize, if you have solar on your house and your power goes out from the city, that solar doesn't work unless you're battery backup. Battery backup adds a lot of money to it. So battery backup is something so when you're remotely located and you need to store the power.
Like if you're living on a mountain in Pikes Peak in Colorado somewhere, right?
Exactly, and there's a couple islands here in the Keys that are totally solar powered.
Are they really?
Yeah. Yes.
Who provides the solar power? Is it individual citizens, or is it the power company in the Keys doing it?
No, it's individual citizen. There's a person that I know, he owns an island in Marathon, and this island in Marathon for 15 years have been running off solar and wind power. There is a wind generator there, there are solar panels on his roof, he has a sys trunk. So here's a gentleman for 15 years that never had an electric bill. Could you imagine not having an electric bill? I mean, that's pretty amazing, and this guy is living it. Now, you live life a little differently, because I've stayed down there several different weekends and such, and when you take a shower, you try not to use a lot of hot water because it's the sun that heats the hot water. And also, you don't leave all the lights on. You try to conserve your electricity because you're realizing you only have so many hours on those batteries before the sun comes back up and recharges it. So, but it's a nice way of living because you're not walking around and all the bright lights are on. You have a couple of lights. Or you might have a candle while you're sitting out on the patio watching the sunset with a bottle of wine versus the lights and the fans and the air conditionings and all that. So,
bottle of wine on the patio at sunset. That's excellent. The Florida Keys have always been a great environment for that.
Correct.
So Kent is involved with all of these things as well as in the civic arena. In Florida, well, one little old man started cleaning a road years ago and everybody laughed at him, and that's turned into the Adopt a Road program that I think is nationwide now, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, it is.
Okay. And when I drive up and down the Florida Turnpike by where I live, folks, I see Kent's Wire Masters sign saying Adopt a Road, this portion of road. How big a portion do you become responsible for? A mile, half mile, 3 miles?
Well,
do you
really,
recall?
what that is about, it's not that, and people think that I'm out there and my guys are out there cleaning the roads.
No, I never saw you with a rake and a
Right,
broom.
right.
No.
I tried to do it, but they wouldn't let me do it, because definitely I would do that. But no, and what it does is we're supporting the highway, so there is a fee for that, and it's $350 a month. And I have 2 of those signs, and so it comes down to $300 a month to have one of those signs on the side of the turnpike. And that money that I pay helps clean the road, so that funds that. So there are various signs throughout the turnpike, and for that nominal fee, because $300 isn't a lot of money, really. Because if you have a billboard on the side of the road, it's $3,000 to $5,000 to have a billboard.
Easily, yes.
Right? And the only disadvantage is you can't put a .com, you can't put a phone number. It's more of brand recognition is what that's
But
all
the
about.
name, like you mentioned, brand recognition, subconsciously, people are looking at it and saying Wiremaster, Wiremaster. So if it sounds like an electrical company, Wire Masters.
Correct.
And the other company is?
Energy Masters.
Energy Masters. Tell us a little bit about Energy Masters. What are you doing there that's, I think, really avant-garde?
Right. Well, Energy Masters is a business that is going to be paying my bills in the future. Today, Wire Masters Electric, and for the last 30 years, I've been paying my bills as an electrical contractor. But I can see the future, and I know that what I do today will be different 5 years from today. With the technology of LED light bulbs coming to market, they're becoming more affordable, and renewable energies. I've actually been owner of Energy Masters for 2 years now, and I've really only done 2 projects. And the reason that is because today solar for your home is costly. At one time, the state of Florida had a fund that would help you put solar on your house. And so say a normal house is $40,000 to $50,000 to put renewable energy, to put solar on your house. The government gives you 30%. So let's pick the number of $50,000. That's 30% is $15,000. Now it's costing you $35,000. The state of Florida is giving you up to $20,000 to $25,000. So it only costs you around $10,000 to put solar on your house.
And how much would you save on a typical 2,000 square foot house with a family of 4, as an example?
You could save between $100 to $200 a month on your electric bill.
So in 3 to 5 years, you're going to have your investment back.
Well, that's what the old model when Florida was giving you money.
Oh, was past tense.
Right. And
Okay.
the fund ran out, and there's probably, I think the last I remember, there's 4,000 or 5,000 homeowners that had put renewables on their house, but have not got their money because the fund had run out of money. And those are things that I'm pushing and I'm trying to make happen again, because it doesn't make sense that California is number 1 in solar. New Jersey is number 2.
New Jersey?
New Jersey's
the
number
land
2.
of garbage dumps and seaports, and number 2 in
Correct.
solar.
New Jersey has about 110 sun days. The state of Florida has over 255 days of sun days. So we have double the sun hours that New Jersey has, and we are the Sunshine State. So you would think that we would have renewable energies here.
Yes.
But and today it's we haven't been getting help, and I've been working with our local elected officials to try to make something happen, because it really only makes sense to help the homeowner and the business owners put renewables on their house and their businesses so we can produce our own electricity. You know, somebody once said, and this is where would you rather get your energy, from heaven or hell? And I thought about that, and I go, well, you're right. You know, God gave us wind and sun, and it's free. Okay, and you can get power from that. Or do we want to dig in the ground and get oil, which is in the ground, to get our
that poisons everything too when we utilize it.
Right. And one of the things that they talk about it's homeland security is important. And it took me a while to understand that, but this war that we're in today is actually the first war since the Civil War that we're funding both sides of the war. And what I mean by that is we spend over $1 billion a day on foreign fuels. So our money is going over there to buy their oil, and then with that money, they're buying guns and tanks to kill our brothers and sisters and our kids. So that's why we need to get off the consumption of foreign fuels. We'll never get off oil. We'll always need it. But we need to start being able to supply it ourselves and come up with other alternatives as renewable energies. As you know, one of the other things in the future is electric cars. By 2030, there'll be over 30 million electric cars on the road. And so there's going to be another consumer of electricity. So we need to do something to help the grid. The grid is what feeds every state everywhere. And the problem with electricity is, as it goes downstream, there's nothing at the end to catch it. It just needs to keep going. So there's no storage system. So the power companies have to produce so much power throughout the day for the peak demands and the less demands. So if we all could put renewables on our homes and reduce our consumption, then we could help the grid, because that way it's throughout the location. It's not just coming from one plant and have to run downstream and run out. And then too, with the grid, our grid throughout the country, throughout the nation, is antiquated, extremely antiquated.
And it's not integrated, really, in essence, computer-wise and infrastructure-wise and everything, is it?
That's correct. They are working on that. And the grid, which people don't realize, and this is a test that I did myself personally, that if you walk underneath power lines, the ones where they don't build houses under, that they say that's the easement that for FP&L, if you stand underneath those power lines and you hold up a 4-foot fluorescent bulb, that bulb will light in your hand.
It's stalled out tractors. I used to be involved with farming as a kid,
right.
And you would drive a tractor under there. It would absolutely disrupt and cancel out the electrical system and shut your tractor down.
Right.
So what's it doing to the human body if it's that powerful, lighting bulbs and stopping tractors?
Exactly. I tell you this much, I know that I would never live near power lines. That's just one of those things that I don't want to have anything to do with, even though the power utility companies say it's under the government guidelines to be okay. But if it lights a light bulb and it shuts down a tractor, imagine other things it can be doing to your body.
Absolutely so. I understand, and maybe you know this, that I had heard that General Electric is going to be building charging stations for electric cars all around the country, and that they have in fact bought or have ordered thousands of electric cars.
Correct.
Are they going to be in the electric car dealership business too?
I don't know if they'll be in the electric car dealership business. They're going to let the car dealers build their cars, but the charging station model, I mean, Leviton, Lutron, GE, there's about 10 or 15 big corporations that are getting into this electric car charging stations, and that is something that I've already been certified with Volt and also the Nissan Leaf.
To build the charging stations?
To install these charging stations.
Yeah, wonderful.
Because one day you and me will probably have an electric car in our driveway. It's it's inevitable. And I actually have, this all started last June. I put my $90 in to reserve a Nissan Leaf. They told me it'd be at the end of the year. Well, now it's the end of this coming year. It's supposed to be the end of last year.
They are that much back ordered with these cars?
Well, they're debuting them in certain areas.
And
Miami wasn't one of the first startups. And the beginning was, what happens first, the chicken or the egg? I mean, do we build the car or we build the charging stations? Because if you have an electric car and there's nowhere to charge it, what good is that? So, the charging stations are now being installed in California and Utah and these other states. Every Costco has a charging station.
Really?
And they take your car for free because they want you to sit there for an hour or so shopping in their store to supply electricity to your car.
That's quite good.
And the thing about electric cars, it only costs $5 to charge for 100 miles. It's costing you like 29 cents a mile to drive by with an electric car.
And most people can commute with those cars and or run their errands locally, can't they?
The Nissan Leaf will run to 100 miles a day. The Chevy Volt will run 40 miles a day. Now, the Chevy Volt does have a gas engine in there, and what I've come to find out, that gas engine is not an engine to drive the car. The electric motor drives the car. The gas engine just charges the battery. So that engine is only, if your battery runs down, you can recharge it, and it has 40 miles, and the national average is 35 to 40 miles a day is what a normal person commutes back and forth to work.
I like the gas engine option because of myself. I'd forget to charge it electrically, and I'd be out calling for a tow truck or a battery truck. Now,
or a charger.
You can. Why don't you start building battery trucks so you can go out when the folks run out of juice? Wiremaster shows up.
I actually know this gentleman who's had an electric car. He bought one of these little box cars. I'm not even sure what the name is, but the little box cars. And he sent it to California and spent like $30,000 to turn this car that he spent $25,000 on to electric over 2.5 years ago. And I said, well, how do you drive around or whatever? He goes, well, what I do before I know where all the KOAs are. Yeah, because every KOA has a 50 amp outlet there. So I can pull in and give one of those guys $5 and let me plug in for half an hour to charge my car. So today there is a system in there, but nobody even thinks about the KOAs that have all this power right there.
That's Campground of America.
Correct.
It's going to take how long to charge this battery now?
Well, there are different charging ones, but if you want a full charge, it will take 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need a full charge. I mean, because normally when you get somewhere, say if you're driving from here to West Palm, that's about 100 miles. When you get there, plug your car in to charge it while you're doing whatever you're doing. In today's model, if there's not charging stations out there, the electric car is for your normal local commuting. If you want to take a trip to Disney, you either use your second car or you rent a vehicle to make those long trips.
Right.
Until the charging stations are out there, and they're coming, and they're going to be here. And this company, SPX, they're the ones doing it for the Chevy Volts. I just went to a big training thing on Monday, and they say in Michigan, where it's already implicated out there, that the installers, there's like 18 installers, and they're busier than they can handle installing these charging stations for electric cars.
Is the Leaf and the Volt, are they going to have different plugs, or are they going to be standard plugs for all of these charging stations?
There is a standard plug that's uniform for all the electric cars.
Good. Should I be buying up extension cords and selling them along the roadside?
No, it's a different kind of cord. It's not a normal, even though all the cars will take a normal receptacle in your house, but that'll take like 18 hours to fully charge a 110 circuit. You need a 220, 40 amp circuit to charge this vehicle. And actually, we've already installed one here at Wiremasters Electric. We installed one at Coral Gables. It was the first charging station here in South Florida. And the lady actually has an electric car. It's actually plastic on the outside. It looks like a normal car. Her son is a manufacturer of batteries in I think it was Minneapolis.
Are they lithium batteries?
Yes, they are.
Made in America or somewhere else?
No, those were made in America. And that's one of the things that we are, the technology in batteries, because all these electric cars are going to have to take batteries, and batteries are becoming cheaper and cheaper every day. So these electric cars will become cheaper. And right now, if you buy an electric car, the government is giving you $7,000 towards the purchase of that car.
Wow! So
folks, they are rather expensive, but right off the top, it drops $7,000.
Well, look up Australian stocks, folks, because most of the lithium in the world is either there or Afghanistan. So if we're going to need all these lithium batteries for these multiple tens of thousands of cars, this would be a great stock to consider. So you were up in Tallahassee. Tallahassee is the state capital of Florida, and you were up there dealing with a renewable energy bill. What's the essence of that bill relative to the state of Florida, Kent?
Well, this bill, there again, there are 30 over. I think it's over 30 states that have renewable energy, renewable portfolios, different ways for you to get renewable energies on your home businesses. The Florida state does not, and I was up there lobbying for a. We had our own bill. There's an organization called FAIR, Florida Alliance for Renewable Energy, that I'm on the board of, and that's an organization of several hundred solar contractors who are trying to get these bills passed or amendments on bills so that there could be funding for renewables on your home and businesses. And what people don't realize today, that on your electric bill, it's $1 something, we pay for renewable energies to the power company. So we're paying the power companies to build these solar plants, and then they sell us the power back to us. That doesn't make sense to me. Why can't they divert that dollar that's already being sent to the utility companies and send it to a fund that Florida can disperse to businesses and homeowners so they can put renewable energies on their homes? In the state of Florida, the power company has over 4 million meters. So that means it'd be $4 million a month would be put in this fund that could help the businesses and the homeowners put renewables on their homes. And these jobs, number one, it will cut down your electric bill, but also it'll produce jobs. It'll produce jobs that'll last years and years and years. They built a plant, FP&L built a plant, Central Florida, I think it was DeSoto or whatever, and this power plant that they built, 90% of the workforce came in from other states. I think California was a big state that came in.
This is a solar energy plant?
Correct. It was the largest one in the nation, I think, at that time, being Obama came to turn the switch on to make the thing work. But the only people that got jobs here were the concrete slab. No local people were able to get jobs from that, and they flew them in, did the project, and flew them out.
We didn't have trained people?
From what I understand, they felt they wanted this one to be perfect, so they wanted the professionals to come in and do it.
Mm-hmm.
There is plenty of trained solar contractors here in South Florida. I happen to be one of the fortunate ones. I received a grant from Workforce Florida to retrain my workforce in renewable energies, and I trained half of my workforce, and I actually had to stop training them because I'm training these guys, and it's costing me money because they give 75% hotel stay here in South Florida for renewable energies, because today it's too expensive. It's unless there is some help. There is a 30% tax rebate that the government gives you, but we need help to be able to get on home because of the cost. And people wonder why it costs so much here in the state of Florida, because no manufacturer is going to come to Florida. And I know there's at least 6 that want to come and set up their shops in Florida, but they're not going to do that unless there's a demand. It's not going to happen here.
Yeah, grants or tax credit. Years ago, I used to build coin laundry stores, and in a coin laundry, you would line up 15 or 20 or 30 big dryers in a row, right, and the burning box was on the top. And we used to put coils in there to preheat the water coming from the ground, which is it's much warmer here. It's in the 30s up north, and it comes out of the ground here about 70 something. But we would preheat the water, and it would go into the holding tank and then out into the washers and so on. So that was a big deal, but there were tax credits for it.
Correct.
And that was the big incentive. I think there was a 10% tax credit, which was big money back in that time. So I was one of these solar people way back when. Right. But not everybody understands it.
It only makes sense that these things happen. And going back to Tallahassee, so I was there on Monday and Tuesday. I actually spoke on the House floor on Monday, on the Senate floor on Monday, for this bill for renewable energy. And then we had a bill that didn't get presented, and then so there was a bill for renewable energies, but this bill, the way it stands today, it all goes to the big power companies. None of it goes to the small. And then on Tuesday I got to speak in front of the House, and the bill did pass, but we're trying to get an amendment tacked to it, and because right now 95% of it goes to the big power companies, and only 5% goes to the small and mid-scale contractors.
Do you have a bill number? Do you recall what the number is?
7028.
7028. Okay, folks, if you're in Florida and you have an interest, find your representative and talk to them about House bill or Senate bill, whatever it might be, 7028, which refers to the renewable energy bill in essence. Is that the title of it? The renewable energy bill?
Correct.
Okay.
That's my knowledge.
All right. So you are involved in the political process too. You're working to help the consumer, really. And if you help the consumer, you will be helped. But most things happen from the grassroots up. Let's take the Tea Party. The Tea Party caused a a seismic, a cataclysmic change in the political system. And where did it happen? From us little folks out here in the street,
Right.
walking on the grass, not on the astroturf, as one of our esteemed politicians call us, but it always from the bottom up.
Right.
The Revolutionary War started with some guys shooting the bad guys.
Correct.
And it didn't take a government down. It took us, the people, up to cause these
Right.
things. And I'm glad that you're involved, and you bring a lot of knowledge and experience. You're not just some guy looking to line your own pockets, are you?
No. And today, I am in a renewable energy business, but before you even put renewables on your home, you have to, we are all gluttons to electricity. We have our air conditioners cold, we leave our lights on, we really don't care. You need to start by reducing your consumption. And there are many ways that you can do this in your home. It's called low-hanging fruit. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit out there that you can easily do in your home to reduce your consumption. And people often ask me, well, what will it take to get renewable energies to be something here major in the state of Florida? Well, it's funny because, let's see, my son is 27. When he graduated high school 8 or 9 years ago, he was one of these tree huggers. He was a vegetarian and cleaned the oceans and did all these things that was ahead of our time. But he wanted a hybrid. And when he graduated high school, I told him that I'd buy him a car, and he wanted a hybrid. And we went to the Honda dealer, and there was 50 or 70 of them on the lot. There were $4,000 in the normal Honda Civic because it's a hybrid, but he wanted that car, and so we got the car. And then what happened? Next thing you know, gas prices started going up, and you couldn't get a hybrid anymore. All the hybrids were for sold. You had to order them. So, and when the gas prices went up, that's what happened, and that's what made us start thinking, hey, let's stop driving the Hummers and the big SUVs and do something to save gas. So the same thing with electricity. FP&L has already been granted a 30% rate increase. So in the next few years, our electric bill is going to be going up. So if your electric bill is $300 this month, and in 2 years it's now $450, you're going to think about, hey, what can I do to reduce my consumption? I actually installed solar hot water on my house. It was 5 months ago. The unit costs $5,000. You get a 30% tax rebate, tax credit. So now it costs me $3,500, and I'm actually saving $100 to $110 a month on my electric bill.
Better your pocket than the power companies, right?
I tell you, and the nice thing about solar hot water is, I've talked to people who've had solar hot water on their house for years, and anybody who says it, I said, well, tell me about it. He goes, it just works. That's the good thing about solar hot water. You put that thing on your roof, and it pays for itself in 3 to 5 years, and then for the next 20, you get free hot water.
All you need is a pump. There's really nothing moving in these systems.
Right, and now the pumps are solar powered. So when the sun is out,
no kidding.
When the sun is out, the pump is moving, circulating the water in that thing. When the sun's not out, there's no reason to circulate the water.
Excellent.
So after a storm, I'll always have hot water, where my neighbors will be taking cold showers.
What's your address?
Yeah, right.
Coffee is at what time? You
exactly.
Know? That was
you want
after Hurricane Andrew. My next door neighbors had gas for hot water,
right.
and half the neighborhood was in there taking showers and having coffee with them.
Correct.
Listen, you talked about Hummers. We used to be like the Hummer capital of the world up on the roadways.
Uh-huh.
If I see one Hummer a day now,
yeah.
when I'm on the road, so people are thinking that.
Anymore.
Tell me if this is true. Electric dryers use most of the electricity in this country. Do you know that? I read that somewhere, and I said, we're lazy. And so many areas in Florida, in gated communities and so on, you're not allowed to have a clothesline even.
I'm not sure of that. I always, from what I've heard, in businesses, it's lighting. In residentials, it's air conditioning is your number one consumer of power. And what people don't realize about power consumption, we'll talk about the dryer since you brought up dryer. You need to keep that filter clean, because if that filter's not clean, your dryer's working harder to dry those clothes, so it means it dries longer. So a simple thing is cleaning your lint filter can cut down your electric bill.
Everyone, take it out, clean it, and slide it back in.
Right. There are other simple things like your pool pump. Your pool pump should run 4 hours in the winter and 6 hours in the summer to clean your pool. That's all it needs, and that's what FP&L is actually saying. That's the perfect time. Now, if you have a company that cleans your pool, they're going to want your pool to clean for 8 or 10 hours, because that's going to make their job easier. But really, it's only 4 in the winter, 6 in the summer. Something like ceiling fans. We were once told to leave your fans on all the time. Well, the true story is the fan only moves the air and it makes you feel cooler. So it only makes sense. It needs to run while you're in the room. If you're running that fan 24/7, what happens is that fan's running, there's nobody in the room, so it really is not cooling anybody. And also, that motor gets hot. So now your air conditioning is working harder to cool down that motor that's running hot in your room. So, that's a simple saving right there. Let's talk about dishwashers. Dishwashers, you need to turn it off the heat cycle, because who really washes their dishes and the minute it's dry, the minute it goes off, puts the dishes away? You usually do it and then it sits overnight, so you should take it off so it drip dries.
Open the door, absolutely.
Right.
You don't need 180-degree water to do dishes in your home. Another thing, about 10 years ago, FP&L came in and did a thing on the AC system, and they put a box inside by the what do you call it?
The disconnect, right.
So like for like 10 seconds a day, it shuts off my AC system, and then it automatically goes back on,
Correct.
and they afford me some kind of savings with
Correct.
that.
Correct.
Kent, how can folks get in touch with you if they have an interest? Are you just licensed in Florida or elsewhere for all what you do?
No, I am a state electrical contractor throughout the state of Florida. I'm able to work anywhere in the state of Florida. And I'm also, last week got my solar contractor license delivered to me. I took the test, and I'm also a state certified solar contractor. And as an electrical contractor, you're able to install solar. You don't really need that license. But as anything that I do, I want to make sure that I know the business and I know the industry, and that I can be a professional in that, not just somebody who says I can do it. And
how are you to be contacted if people have a need or desire, want more information, literature? How can they get in touch with you?
The name of the company is Wiremasters Electric. The phone number is 305-378-4011, 305-378-4011, or you also can email me at kent@wiremasterselectric.com, or go to my website at wiremasterselectric.com.
And that's K-E-N-T, not Ken, but Kent, like Clark Kent of Superman, folks, if you're, again, a superhero fan. Kent at?
wiremasterselectric.com.
Good.
And you also can reach me at kcmiami.com. I have that as well. That's a lot easier, it's shorter, it's simpler, at kcmiami.com, Ken at kcmiami.com.
Wonderful. Ken, it's been a pleasure having you here. I've learned a lot. Especially before we went on the air, we talked about the LED floods. What does LED stand for? Light something?
Light emitting diode.
Yeah, which does not put off heat, and you can dim them up and down, unlike fluorescent lights. And these are much better than the curly spaghetti fluorescent bulbs because there's no mercury in them. And they'll last about 10 years, Kent advised me. So get a hold of Kent anywhere in the state of Florida. If you want to know about green, and now, like we used to in the sod huts in North Dakota, now we're putting grass on roofs with trees and everything. And we're recycling everything when we're building our buildings now. We are a little late, but this is good. So get a hold of Kent. Folks, we thank you for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube. Tell your friends. And this will be recycling till the end of time. So very, very pleased to have you look in and listen. Ralph Geronimo signing off for MiamiBusiness.com. Thank you.